as the leader of Front over the last 10 years, how have you been able to take the steps towards growing the company in terms of investing into R&D and its growth?
Well, 10 years is an interesting period. We've had a number of missteps on that particular journey. So if I go back 10 years ago, we had quite a healthy cash balance because we'd taken funding. We were just about to have a change in CEO where one of our founders was stepping aside, and a professional CEO was joining the company, and which drove quite a change of strategy. And part of that strategy was we put a lot of effort into a product, a mobile payments product, built a very good one. We had a change in name from Synergy to Front, and we had a change of strategy from a generalist professional services firm to a specialist payments and transactions firm. And we weren't able to successfully execute on the change in strategy at the end of the day, and the investment had been made in the product, and the GFC hit, and our channel to market disappeared. So we had a period of time when we were effectively running on the bank's capital, and so we went through quite a different phase, right, which was digging ourselves out of that hole and then deciding where to go. So probably about 4 years ago we started choosing our direction around cloud integration. We've been working with Salesforce for a number of years. We saw how much value we could deliver, how quickly. We just started working with Google and saw likewise the opportunity there for us and our clients. And because we've been growing so quickly for the last 3 years, we have been constantly short of capital. And it's on one hand it is focusing our effort very much. On the other hand, it also constrains our thinking. So it's a real live issue today.
So Ian, in terms of I guess your growth strategy, it seems like the option around targeted acquisition has already sort of taken step in Australia. Can you just talk about what's worked and what hasn't worked, and I suppose what you anticipate for this acquisition?
Yeah. So that's our 1, 2, 3. That's our 5th international move.
Right.
We set up a joint venture in the UK, which we closed down at the GFC. We went to Singapore to build the wholesale electricity market there, which is fine, but we didn't do anything more. We've got a bunch of banking clients in the Philippines, and we went to Australia in 2000, which failed badly. So it's our 5th go. We've been there for 3 years. It's been very hard. Very hard to maintain continuity of leadership. And the continuity of leadership has been critical for confidence of our partners and confidence of our clients. So the acquisition was specifically around gaining skills, particular skills around NetSuite. What we gain from that is local leadership in markets, which we'd really struggled for. We gained some critical mass, and we took out a lot of new market entry risk. Ahmad, I'm interested in your partnering strategy and how you're leveraging partnerships to increase penetration, particularly offshore.
So we're in the very early stages around formulating our partnership strategy, and at the moment we have identified a market development partnership with the local telco in the market. So in Thailand we approached AIS and we said, how would you like to be positioned in healthcare? and they like that proposition. So at the moment we are working on a model, whether it becomes a form of a license or a form of a sort of a pre-purchase of our software on behalf of the customers that we're going to sell the system to. It has, that has been the strategy that has been sort of identified at this stage. Whether it's a template, I can't say that that's the case at this point. We're still sort of doing the figures and revenue splits and how we might structure it. We wanted to get away from doing a joint venture.
And do you see AIS having responsibility for selling your solution?
So we had heated arguments with them about who should be doing what, and in the end it came down to Vensa being Vensa and AIS being AIS, i.e. a pipe with a bit of marketing and lead generation, and for Vensa to bring the IP, the expertise and the implementation. Obviously if AIS do own the sales component of it, it would de-risk it a lot for Vensa, especially if we're asking for $1 million or $2 million upfront in license commitment. So that's certainly been the biggest question mark in this whole engagement.
How do you maintain culture during a growth period where you've got to be away from the office a lot?
It's tough. It's really tough. The thing that I have started to do now is sort of delegate some of the HR responsibilities around how we want the culture to be to the finance manager who has had exposure to HR. But it's about surviving. Ultimately it's about surviving, because there's a very thin dividing line between success and failure at our stage, and we're a company that has gotten to where we are with 100K in the bank, so sort of sweat equity to get us to the point that we are in right now, which is in some ways a good position to be in, because we can convince investors that we can do it.